Taewon stared at his account balance and felt his stomach drop. 147 credits. That was all he had left in the entire universe. He sat in the cramped waiting area of the Frontier Colonial Exchange Station, watching other pilots and traders move past him with purpose. They all had somewhere to go. They all had cargo to haul or deals to make. Taewon had nothing except a broken ship and empty pockets. 3 weeks ago, everything had been fine. He had taken a contract to haul medical supplies to a mining colony. Simple job, good pay. But when he arrived, the colony manager claimed half the supplies were damaged. Taewon knew it was a lie, but he had no proof. The manager refused to pay. Then Taewon's ship developed engine trouble on the way back. The repairs took all his savings. Now he was stuck on this station in the middle of nowhere waiting for something to change. But nothing ever changed unless you made it change. Taewon pulled up the colonial auction terminal on his datapad. It was a last resort, really. People sold all kinds of worthless property on these terminals, failed colonies, broken equipment, land on planets nobody wanted. But maybe, just maybe, there was something he could afford, something he could use. He scrolled through the listings. Everything was too expensive. A small outpost on an ice planet, 15,000 credits. A mining claim with depleted resources, 8,000 credits. A damaged cargo hauler, 20,000 credits. Then he saw it. Entire settlement for sale. Dust Ridge Colony, Planet Kale 7, 23 buildings. Solar power arrays? Water reclamation system. Starting bid 100 credits. Taewon read it twice. 100 credits? For an entire colony? There had to be something wrong with it. He opened the full listing. The images showed a collection of prefab buildings sitting in a desert under violet skies. The structures looked intact. There were warnings all over the listing. Atmospheric anomalies reported. Previous inhabitants disappeared without explanation. Property sold as is. No refunds. No exceptions. Taewon read the history. The colony had been built 15 years ago by a mining company. They abandoned it after 6 months. Since then, 4 different people had bought it. All of them left within days. The last owner had written in his departure log, "I don't care if I lose my money. I'm not spending another night in that place." The auction had 12 hours left. No bids yet. Taewon looked at his account balance again. 147 credits. If he bid 100, he would have 47 left. Enough for food and fuel to get to Kale 7. After that, he would figure something out. He always did, but what if the place was actually dangerous? What if there was a reason people kept leaving? Taewon thought about his options. He could stay on this station, sleeping in his ship, until his credits ran out. Then what, beg for work? Sign on to a corporate crew and lose his freedom? Or he could take a chance, buy a ghost town in the middle of nowhere and at least have a place to land. A place to call his own even if it was cursed. He placed his bid. 100 credits. The system confirmed his bid. He was the only bidder. Taewon waited. He grabbed a cheap meal from a food dispenser and sat watching his datapad. Hours passed. Other auctions came and went. People bid thousands of credits on equipment and property. Nobody bid on Dust Ridge Colony. With 1 hour left in the auction, Taewon started to believe it might actually happen. With 10 minutes left, his heart was pounding. With 1 minute left, he held his breath. The auction ended. "Congratulations," the system message said. "You are the winning bidder for Dust Ridge Colony, Kale 7. Total cost 100 credits. Transfer of deed will be processed immediately." Taewon sat back in his chair. He owned a colony. He owned 23 buildings on a planet he had never heard of. He had 47 credits left to his name. He downloaded all the property files and coordinates. Then he went to file his departure with the station administrator. Ji-Hai looked up from her desk when he entered. She was an older woman with gray hair and tired eyes. "Help you? I need to file a departure." "Heading to Kale 7. Ji-Hai's expression changed. "Kale 7? You're the one who bought Dust Ridge." "That's right." She shook her head slowly. "I processed the last 3 owners. They all came back within a week. One of them lasted 3 days. What scared them?" Taewon asked. They talked about sounds. Screaming winds. Things moving in the buildings, shadows. One man swore he saw a ghost. Ji-Hai stamped his departure form. "I think it's just a creepy place. Desert planets can mess with your head, but I'm required to warn you. 3 previous owners abandoned the site. Consider this your official warning." "Noted," Taewon said. "Why would you buy a haunted colony?" Ji-Hai asked. Taewon smiled, but there was no humor in it. "Because I could afford it." Back at his ship, Taewon ran through the pre-flight checklist. The engine still made a rattling sound, but it would get him to Kale 7. After that, maybe he could scavenge parts from the colony to make repairs. As his ship lifted off from the station, Taewon felt something strange. Not fear, not excitement, just a quiet certainty that his life was about to change. For better or worse, he had made his choice. The journey to Kale 7 took 2 days. Taewon spent the time reading everything he could find about the planet. It was a desert world with a thin but breathable atmosphere, 2 small moons, extreme temperature changes between day and night. No native life, no resources worth mining. The perfect place for a colony that nobody wanted. When Kale 7 appeared on his view screen, Taewon saw a rust-colored planet with swirling dust clouds. Beautiful in a harsh way. He entered the atmosphere and followed the coordinates to Dust Ridge. As his ship descended, he got his first real look at his new property. The colony sat in a flat valley between rocky hills. 23 buildings arranged in a grid pattern. Solar panels glinted in the sunlight. Everything looked intact from the air. Then his sensors picked up something strange. Energy signature detected, the ship's computer announced. Taewon checked the readings. There was a faint power signature coming from one of the buildings. Not much. Just enough to indicate that something was running. That didn't make sense. The colony had been abandoned for months. Solar panels would provide power, but why would anything be running? Thermal signature detected, the computer said. Taewon pulled up the thermal scan. One building at the edge of the colony showed heat. Not much, but more than the others. Something warm was inside. Equipment malfunction, probably. Or maybe the heating system was stuck on. But Taewon felt his pulse quicken. He landed his ship in the central plaza between the buildings. Dust swirled up from the landing thrusters. When the engines powered down, everything went quiet. Taewon stood at the airlock looking out at his ghost town. The violet sky stretched overhead. The wind whistled through the empty buildings. He had spent 100 credits and his last bit of hope on this place. Time to see what he had bought. He opened the airlock and stepped out onto the surface of Kale 7. The air was thin but breathable, cold. The wind pulled at his jacket. Taewon walked toward the nearest building, his boots crunching on the sandy ground. Behind him, in a sealed warehouse at the colony's edge, someone watched his ship through a crack in the door. Someone who had been hiding here for 4 long months. Someone who had been praying that no one would ever come. But someone always came eventually. The first building Taewon entered was the main habitation unit. The door was unlocked, which surprised him. The inside was dark until he found the light switch. Solar power was still working. The lights flickered on, revealing a large common room. Dust covered everything. Furniture sat exactly where people had left it. A cup on the table. Boots by the door. A jacket hanging on a hook. It looked like everyone had simply vanished in the middle of an ordinary day. Taewon walked through the rooms. Kitchen, sleeping quarters, bathroom. Everything was functional. The water system hummed when he turned on a faucet. Brown water ran out at first, then cleared. Not great, but drinkable. He found a computer terminal and powered it up. The colony records appeared on the screen. He scrolled through files. Maintenance logs. Supply inventories. Personal messages from the original miners. Then he found the departure logs from the previous owners. The first owner had written, Day 3. I can't sleep. Something is wrong with this place. The wind sounds like screaming. I saw movement in Building 7, but when I checked, nothing was there. I'm leaving tomorrow. The second owner. I don't believe in ghosts, but I hear her crying every night. A woman's voice. It comes from the north side of the colony. I searched every building. There's nothing there. I'm not staying to find out what it really is. The third owner. Last night something banged on my door for 2 hours. When I opened it, nobody was there. My sensors show no life signs except mine. I packed up this morning. This place can stay abandoned. Taewon leaned back in the chair. So that was it. Sounds, shadows, things that made people afraid. He understood why they left. Being alone in a deserted colony could make anyone paranoid, especially at night, but Taewon had nowhere else to go. Fear was a luxury he couldn't afford. He spent the afternoon exploring the other buildings. Storage units filled with old equipment, a workshop with tools, a medical bay with basic supplies, a greenhouse that still had dead plants in the growing trays. Everything was useful. Everything was his. When the sun started to set, the temperature dropped fast. Taewon returned to the main habitation unit and sealed the door. He found bedding in a storage closet and made up one of the bunks. He heated a ration pack for dinner and sat eating in the common room. The silence was complete. No sounds except the wind outside and the occasional creak of the building settling. Taewon was tired. He finished eating and climbed into the bunk. Sleep came quickly. He woke suddenly in the darkness. His internal clock said it was 3 a.m. Something had pulled him from sleep. Then he heard it, a sound carried on the wind, high and wavering, almost like a voice, almost like someone crying. Taewon sat up. His heart beat faster. He listened. There it was again, distant, mournful. It rose and fell with the wind. He got out of bed and went to the window. Outside, the 2 small moons cast pale light over the colony. Nothing moved. But the sound continued. It came from the north, the direction of the buildings at the colony's edge. Taewon pulled on his boots and jacket. He grabbed a flashlight and a wrench from the workshop. If something was making that sound, he needed to know what it was. Better to face it now than spend every night wondering. He stepped outside into the cold night. The wind pulled at his clothes. He walked between the buildings, following the sound. It grew louder as he moved north. The last structure at the edge of the colony was a large warehouse. The sound seemed to come from inside. Taewon approached the door. It was sealed with a biometric lock. Strange. The other buildings had been open or had simple mechanical locks. He examined the lock. Someone had overridden it from the inside. The access panel showed signs of tampering. The crying sound stopped suddenly. Taewon knocked on the door. "Hello, is someone in there?" Silence. He knocked again. "I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to know who you are." More silence. Then very quietly a voice spoke. Female. Frightened. "Go away." Taewon's mind raced. Someone was living here. Someone had been hiding in his colony. That explained everything. The sounds. The thermal signatures. The previous owners running away. "I'm the new owner," Taewon said. "I bought this colony yesterday. I'm not here to cause trouble. But I need to know who you are, please," the voice said. "Just leave. Forget you saw anything. I'll be gone soon." "Gone where?" Taewon asked. "There's nothing around here for 300 kilometers. No answer. Taewon sat down with his back against the door. "I'm not leaving, and I'm not going to break in. But I'm also not going back to sleep until I know what's going on. So you can talk to me through the door, or we can both sit here until sunrise. Your choice." A long pause. "Then, you'll call the authorities." "I don't have enough credits to call anyone," Taewon said. "I spent my last 100 buying this place. I'm not exactly in a position to cause problems for anyone." Another pause. He heard movement inside. Footsteps. The sound of something being moved. Then the door's lock disengaged. The door opened a crack. Taewon stood up slowly. He kept his hands visible and his flashlight pointed at the ground. A face appeared in the gap. Not human. Blue-gray skin. Large dark eyes. Delicate features. Female and terrified. Taewon's breath caught. He recognized the species from news reports. Valoran. Their homeworld had been destroyed 6 months ago. A stellar collapse. Billions dead. The survivors scattered across the galaxy as refugees. "You're Valoran," Taewon said softly. The woman flinched. "You know what I am. I've seen the news. I'm sorry about your homeworld." She stared at him with those large, dark eyes, searching his face for danger. For deception. "What's your name?" Taewon asked. "Hana," she said. "It's not my birth name. I chose it. Easier for humans to say." "I'm Taewon." Hana looked past him at the colony, at his ship sitting in the central plaza. "How much did you pay for this place?" 100 credits. Despite everything, Hana almost smiled. "I paid 150. 6 months ago. Through a false identity. I thought owning property would make me legal. Would give me somewhere to hide." "You've been here for 6 months?" 4 months. I spent 2 months getting here." She opened the door wider. "You should see what you bought." Taewon stepped inside. The warehouse was divided by hanging sheets into smaller spaces. A makeshift nest of blankets in one corner, supplies stacked against the walls, food containers, water bottles, medical supplies, and equipment. Electronic devices hooked together in complex arrays. You made the ghost sounds, Taewon said. Sonic generators, Hana admitted. Low frequency. Humans can't hear them directly, but they make you feel uneasy. Afraid. I also rigged holograms in some buildings. Shadows that move. I needed people to leave. I needed to stay hidden. Hidden from who? Hana's hand went to her stomach. That's when Taewon noticed. She was pregnant. Very pregnant? I was on a refugee transport, Hana said quietly. After the homeworld died. The transport was attacked by Kryn slavers. They take our people, sell us. My species is valuable. Rare now, she looked down, especially breeding females. Taewon felt cold anger settle in his chest. He knew about the Kryn syndicate. Pirates and slavers who operated in the lawless outer colonies. I escaped during a station raid, Hana continued. Stowed away on a freight hauler. Found this colony listing while hiding in a data cafe. I used stolen credits and a fake identity to buy it. Then I came here to hide. How long do you have? Taewon asked, nodding at her stomach. Feller in gestation is 10 months. I have 3 weeks. Maybe less. The stress makes it difficult to predict. They stood in silence for a moment. Outside, the wind whistled through the colony. Taewon's colony, his ghost town, except it was never his. Not really. Hana had bought it first. She had been here first. She needed it more. Listen, Taewon said. Technically, I own the legal deed. But you were here first. You need this place, so we'll figure something out. You can stay. I'll tell anyone who asks that you're my hired manager. Or my partner. Whatever keeps you safe, Hana stared at him. Why would you do that? Because I spent my last 100 credits on a ghost town, Taewon said. Seems like the universe is trying to tell me something. Before Hana could respond, her knees buckled. She grabbed the wall for support. Taewon caught her arm. When did you last eat? He asked. Yesterday morning. I'm running low on supplies. Taewon looked at her. Really looked. She was thin, too thin. Her skin had a gray pallor. She was surviving, but barely. Come on, he said. I've got food in the main building, real food. And a medical scanner in my ship. But you need help. Your baby needs help, and I'm the only help around for 300 kilometers. So let's go. Hana hesitated. Then she nodded. They walked back through the colony together. The crying ghost and the broke freight hauler. Both refugees in their own way. Both running from something, neither of them knowing that the real danger was already on its way. Taewon heated 3 ration packs and set them on the table. Hana ate slowly at first, then faster. She was hungrier than she wanted to admit. The food isn't great, Taewon said, but it's calories. It's wonderful, Hana said between bites. I've been living on algae paste for 2 months. This tastes like a feast. After eating, Taewon brought out his ship's portable medical scanner. It was old and basic, but it could check vital signs and detect major problems, may I? He asked. Hana nodded. She pulled back her jacket so he could press the scanner against her stomach. The device hummed and beeped. Numbers scrolled across the small screen. Taewon wasn't a doctor, but the scanner's analysis was simple enough to understand. You're dehydrated, he said. Malnourished. Blood pressure is low. The baby shows signs of stress but seems stable. He looked up at her. When did you last see a real doctor? 6 months ago, before my homeworld died. Taewon set the scanner down. We need to get you healthy. Both of you. The colony has a water reclamation system. I can get that running better. And the greenhouse. If we can restart the growing trays, we can have fresh food in a few weeks. Why are you helping me? Hana asked. The question was direct, honest. Taewon thought about it. Because someone should. And I'm here. That makes it my job. Hana's eyes filled with tears. She wiped them away quickly. I'm sorry, hormones, everything makes me cry now. It's okay. No one has been kind to me since the homeworld fell, Hana said quietly. Everyone sees us as problems. Refugees taking resources, taking jobs, or they see us as valuable, exotic, something to exploit. She looked at Taewon. You're the first person who just sees another person. They talked through the night. Hana told him about her life before. She had been an environmental engineer on Valora. She designed water filtration systems for the underwater cities. She had family, friends, a partner who died when the star collapsed, a whole life that vanished in one terrible day. The evacuation was chaos, she said. Billions of people trying to escape. Not enough ships. I got on a transport with strangers. We didn't even know where we were going. Just away. The transport had jumped from station to station. No one wanted to take Velaran refugees. Too many of them. Not enough resources. Then the Kryn found them. They boarded the transport at a fuel station, Hana said. Took 40 of us. Said we would be sold to private collectors. Rich people who want exotic servants. Or worse. Her hands rested protectively on her stomach. I was already pregnant. That made me more valuable to them. Taewon listened. He didn't interrupt. Sometimes people just needed to tell their story. Hana had escaped when security forces raided the station where the Kryn were docked. In the confusion, she ran. She hid in cargo containers, stowed away on ships, moved from place to place for 2 months, always terrified someone would recognize her. Then I found this place, she said. A ghost town, perfect. I thought if I could just stay hidden until the baby came, I could figure out the next step. And now? Taewon asked. Now you're here, and I don't know what happens next. Taewon stood and walked to the window. The sun was rising over the desert. Pink and orange light spread across the violet sky. Here's what happens, he said. You stay here. This is your home. I'll update the public records to show you as the colony manager. Anyone who checks will see a legal resident. We fix up the colony, make it livable. When the baby comes, we deal with that. After we figure out the next steps together. You would do that? For a stranger? You're not a stranger anymore. You're my partner in a very expensive ghost town. He smiled. Besides, I need a good environmental engineer. This place is a mess, Hana laughed. It was the first time Taewon had heard her laugh. It was a good sound. They spent the next 2 days working. Taewon repaired the solar arrays, increasing the power output. Hana fixed the water reclamation system, making it run more efficiently. Together, they cleaned out the greenhouse and prepared the growing trays. Hana showed him Valoran farming techniques. Ways to maximize growth in limited space, how to use bioluminescent algae to supplement artificial light. She was brilliant. Within hours, the greenhouse looked like a real farm instead of an abandoned project. Taewon fixed his ship's engine using parts from the colony's workshop. It still made odd sounds, but it was more reliable now. He also repaired some of the colony's exterior sensors. Why do we need sensors? Hana asked. Just in case, Taewon said. Better to see trouble coming. On the third morning, Taewon was working in the workshop when his ship's communication system beeped. Incoming message. He ran to the ship and checked the console. His face went cold. The message was a standard property inquiry. Someone wanted information about Dust Ridge Colony's new owner. Normal enough. But the sender's identification made Taewon's blood freeze. The message came from a Kryn scout ship. The signature matched a known syndicate vessel. Taewon ran to find Hana. She was in the greenhouse planting seeds. Hana, we have a problem. She looked up, saw his expression. They found me. I got a message. A Kryn ship. They're asking about the new owner of the colony. They must be monitoring property transfers. Looking for any sign of you. Hana stood slowly. Her hand went to her stomach. How long do we have? Taewon checked his datapad. The message is 2 days old. If they're coming here, they could arrive in another 2 days. Maybe sooner. You should leave, Hana said. Take your ship, go now. They're looking for me, not you. I'm not leaving. Taewon, I'm not leaving, he repeated firmly. This is my colony. You're my partner. And I don't run from slavers. You'll die. They'll kill you. Maybe. But I didn't spend my last 100 credits just to abandon the place when trouble shows up. He met her eyes. Besides, you're about to have a baby. You need someone here, Hana stared at him. You're insane, probably. But I'm also all you've got. He pulled up the colony schematics on his datapad. So let's figure out how to defend a ghost town. They spent the rest of the day preparing. The colony had old mining charges in storage. Taewon rigged them into simple proximity mines. They wouldn't kill anyone, but they would slow attackers down. Hana used her sonic generators and holograms in new ways. If the Kryn came at night, they would face a colony that seemed haunted. Sounds, shadows, confusion. They fortified the main habitation unit and the warehouse. Multiple escape routes, supplies stashed in different locations. If they had to run, they would be ready. Taewon tried to send a message to his old friend Dong Jun. He was a retired military pilot who lived one system over, good in a fight. But the response came back quickly. Dong Jun was 2 weeks away on a cargo run. He would come, but he wouldn't arrive in time. On the fourth day, Hana was carrying supplies to the warehouse when she stopped suddenly. Her face went pale. She grabbed the doorframe. "Hana, something's wrong," she said. Water ran down her legs. "Oh no, it's too early." Taewon caught her as her knees buckled. "The baby?" "Yes, the stress. It triggered labor." She gripped his arm. "Velaran births are difficult. I need the medical bay, now." Taewon half-carried her to the ship's medical bay. It was small, basic, not designed for births. But it was all they had. He helped her onto the examination table. The scanner showed what he feared. The baby was coming, early but coming. "I don't know how to do this," Taewon admitted. "I'll tell you," Hana said through gritted teeth. "Just don't panic." For the next 6 hours, Taewon followed her instructions. He had never been so terrified in his life. Hana screamed. She cried. She bled more than seemed possible. The medical bay's limited pain medication barely helped, but she was strong. Stronger than anyone Taewon had ever met. Finally, as the sun set outside, a baby's cry filled the medical bay. Taewon held a tiny, blue-gray infant in his hands. She was covered in fluid, wrinkled, and screaming. "She was perfect. It's a girl," he said, his voice shaking. Hana reached out. Taewon placed the baby on her chest. Hana wrapped her arms around her daughter and cried. The baby's skin began to glow. Soft bioluminescence, blue and green patterns flowing across her tiny body. It was the Valoran response to emotion. Right now she glowed with life and love. "Daun," Hana whispered. "I'll name her Daun. Great kindness, because that's what saved us." Taewon cleaned up the medical bay while Hana rested with Daun. His hands were shaking. His clothes were covered in blood. He had just delivered an alien baby in a broken-down ship in the middle of nowhere. He walked outside to clear his head. The cold night air helped. Then his ship's alarm started screaming. Taewon ran to the console. The exterior sensors showed a ship entering the atmosphere, large armed Kryn. Design, they had arrived, and Taewon had a 6-hour-old baby and an exhausted mother to protect. He looked up at the sky and saw the ship's running lights, descending through the darkness. Time to find out if a broke freight hauler could defend a ghost town against 4 armed mercenaries. Taewon watched the Kryn ship land 200 meters from the colony's edge. It was a gunship, sleek and dangerous, the kind of ship that carried mercenaries, not cargo. 4 figures emerged from the landing ramp. They wore combat armor and carried energy weapons. Even from this distance, Taewon could see they were professionals. He ran back to the medical bay. Hana was sitting up, holding Dawn close. The baby slept. Her bioluminescent glow dimmed to a soft pulse. "They're here," Taewon said. Hana's face went pale. "How many?"
4 armed. You have to run.
"Take your ship." "Leave now while you can," Taewon shook his head. "We built a shelter under the warehouse. Remember, hidden entrance. Emergency supplies. You and Dayun need to hide there now. What about you? I'll talk to them. Buy time. Make them think I'm alone. They'll kill you. Maybe. But they won't find you. That's what matters." He helped her stand. She was weak from the birth, but she could walk. He grabbed a bag of supplies and led her to the warehouse. The hidden shelter was small. Just a reinforced room under the floor with supplies for a week. Taewon had built it as a worst-case emergency. Now it was their only hope. He helped Hana down the ladder. She held Daeun carefully. The baby woke and started to cry softly. "Stay quiet," Taewon said. "Don't come out until I come for you. If I don't come back by morning, there's enough supplies here to last a week. After that, use the emergency beacon in the bag. It will bring help eventually. Taewon, take care of her. She's special. She deserves a life." He smiled. "Besides, someone has to run this ghost town." He sealed the shelter entrance and covered it with equipment. From above, it looked like normal warehouse clutter. Then he walked out to meet the mercenaries. They were waiting in the central plaza. 4 Kryn in black armor. Their leader was taller than the others, with scars across his face. He held his weapon casually, like someone very comfortable with violence. "You're the owner?" the leader asked. His voice was rough and accented. "That's right. Taewon, who are you?" "My name is Volesh. We're looking for someone. A Velaran female, pregnant. Our tracking suggests she came to this colony." "I've been here 3 days," Taewon said. "I haven't seen anyone. Place is abandoned." Volesh smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. 3 days? "According to our information, someone has been here for months. Someone using power, using water, someone alive." Yeah, me. I've been making repairs. Don't lie. Volesh raised a scanner. We detected Valoran biosignatures. She's here. Taiwan kept his expression neutral. Your scanner is broken. There's nobody here but me. Volesh stepped closer. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell me where she is. If you cooperate, we'll leave you alive. If you don't cooperate, we'll search every building until we find her, and then we'll kill you for wasting our time. Search all you want, Taiwan said. You'll find exactly what I found. Empty buildings and dust. Volesh stared at him for a long moment. Then he turned to his team. We have 1 hour of daylight. Search everything. If you find her, call me. If you find evidence she was here, call me. If you find anything suspicious, call me. The 3 other mercenaries spread out toward the buildings. Volesh stayed in the plaza with Taiwan. You're either very brave or very stupid. I just want to be left alone, Taiwan said. I bought this place legally. I'm not involved in whatever problem you have. Oh, but you are involved now, whether you want to be or not. Volesh sat down on a crate, weapon resting on his knee. I'll tell you a secret. I don't care about the Valoran. Not personally. But my employer paid a lot of money for her. She's a breeding female, very valuable. Very rare now. When we lost her at that station raid, my employer was angry. Very angry, so I'm going to find her. Because I like being alive. Taiwan said nothing. Here's another secret, Volesh continued. If I don't find her here, I'll burn this colony to the ground. Just to make sure. And you'll burn with it, so you should really tell me where she is. The sun was setting. Shadows grew long across the colony. Taiwan had prepared for this. He had 1 hour. 1 hour to use every trick Hana had taught him. He had set all her ghost equipment to activate at sunset. Right on schedule, the sound started. A low, wailing cry echoed through the colony. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. The sonic generators were working. Volesh stood up. What is that? I told you, Taiwan said. This place is haunted. Previous owners all ran away because of it. I figured out it's just equipment malfunction. But at night it gets worse. Equipment doesn't sound like that. A shadow moved across the wall of a nearby building. Then another. The holograms were activating. They looked like figures running between structures. One of Volesh's mercenaries shouted from inside a building. He came running out, weapon raised. Something's in there. I saw it move. There's nothing in there, Taiwan said. It's just shadows. The place messes with your head. More sounds, metallic bangs, scraping, voices that weren't quite voices. Hana had recorded dozens of tracks. Now they all played at once from hidden speakers throughout the colony. The 3 mercenaries regrouped in the plaza. They looked nervous. Kryn weren't superstitious, but they weren't stupid either. Something was very wrong here. It's a trick, Volesh said. But even he looked uncertain. It's this planet, Taiwan said. Atmospheric anomalies. Electromagnetic interference. It creates illusions. That's why everyone leaves. I'm the only one stubborn enough to stay. Then you won't mind if we continue searching, Volesh said. Be my guest. The mercenaries split up again. Taiwan watched them go into different buildings. He had prepared surprises in several locations. Nothing lethal, just enough to scare them. A mercenary entered the eastern habitation unit. Taiwan heard a bang and a shout. The man came stumbling out, covered in foam from a fire suppression system that Taiwan had rigged to the door. Another mercenary went into the workshop. Taiwan had left one of the mining charges there, set to a motion trigger. Not armed, just the sound and flash. A loud boom echoed through the colony. The mercenary came running out, disoriented. The 3rd mercenary was searching the greenhouse when the lights went out. Taiwan had set the power to cycle off at intervals. In the darkness, the hologram projectors created shapes in the glass. Faces, figures. The mercenary fired his weapon at shadows. Volesh was getting angry. Stop playing games. I'm not doing anything, Taiwan said. This is just what happens here at night. It was fully dark now. The 2 moons provided some light, but not much. The colony was a maze of shadows and sounds. The perfect place for one man to fight for, Taiwan moved. He slipped away from the plaza while Volesh was watching his team. He knew this colony now. Every building, every passage, every hiding spot. He found the 1st mercenary in the storage building, trying to calm his nerves. Taiwan hit him from behind with a wrench. The man went down hard. Taiwan took his weapon and his communications device, 1 down, 3 to go. The second mercenary was in the medical building. Taewon lured him into the back room with a thrown rock. When the man came to investigate, Taewon triggered one of the mining charges. The explosion was small, but in the enclosed space it was deafening. The mercenary was thrown against the wall, unconscious, 2 down. The third mercenary had gone back to the gunship. Smart, he was calling for backup or preparing to leave. Taewon ran across the open ground. The mercenary saw him coming and raised his weapon. Taewon dove behind a rock as energy blasts hit the ground around him. He waited, counted to 3, then threw a rock in one direction while he moved in another. The mercenary fired at the rock. Taewon came up behind him and brought the wrench down on his helmet. The man collapsed, 3 down. Taewon turned back toward the colony. Volesh was still out there somewhere. The most dangerous one, he walked back into the plaza, slowly, weapon ready. Volesh, your team is done. Leave now and I won't kill you. Silence. Then Volesh's voice came from the darkness. Clever, but not clever enough. Taewon turned. Volesh stood at the entrance to the warehouse. He was holding a scanner, the one that detected biosignatures. Interesting, Volesh said. This building shows Valoran life signs. Coming from below. Taewon's heart stopped. There's something under this warehouse, Volesh continued. A hidden room. And that's where she's hiding. He smiled. Thank you for the game. But it's over now. Volesh entered the warehouse. Taewon ran. He had seconds, maybe less. He burst into the warehouse. Volesh was moving equipment, searching for the entrance. Get away from there, Taewon said. He raised the weapon he'd taken from the mercenary. Volesh laughed. You won't shoot me. You're not a killer. Try me. Volesh found the hidden door. He pulled it open. The ladder descended into darkness. Come out, little Valoran, Volesh called down. Come out or I'll come down there and drag you out. Taewon fired. The energy blast hit Volesh in the shoulder. The mercenary stumbled but didn't fall. He turned fury in his eyes. Now you've done it, Volesh said. They fought, hand to hand in the cramped warehouse. Volesh was bigger, stronger, trained. Taewon was desperate. That was his only advantage. Volesh threw him against the wall. Taewon's ribs cracked. He gasped for air. Volesh picked him up and slammed him to the ground. Where is she? Volesh demanded. Tell me and I'll make it quick. Taewon spat blood. Go to hell. Volesh raised his weapon, pointed it at Taewon's head. Goodbye, freight hauler. Then the sky lit up with plasma fire. A ship descended over the colony, guns blazing. Energy blasts hit. Dongjun climbed down the ladder into the hidden shelter. Moments later, he emerged, helping Hana up. She held Daeun wrapped in blankets. The baby's bioluminescence pulsed softly in the darkness. Dongjun stared. Is that a Valoran? 2 Valorans, actually, Taewon said. Meet Hana and Daeun, my business partners. Dongjun looked from the alien mother and baby to his injured friend sitting on the warehouse floor. You bought a ghost town 3 days ago. Now you have alien refugees and dead mercenaries. How? I have a talent for complicated situations, Taewon said. 2 more people came running into the warehouse. A man and a woman, both in flight suits. The man was built like a fighter, the woman moved like a medic. This is Kyungsoo and Bora, Dongjun said. My crew. We were together when I got your message. They volunteered to help. Bora knelt beside Taewon, examining his injuries with a professional eye. Broken ribs. Possible concussion. Multiple contusions. You need proper medical attention. Later, Taewon said. Check Hana first. She gave birth 6 hours ago. Bora's eyes widened. 6 hours? And you were fighting mercenaries? She turned to Hana. Come with me. Let's get you and the baby to a real medical bay. Bora led Hana to Dongjun's ship. It was larger than Taewon's freighter, with better medical facilities. Kyungsoo helped Taewon stand and walk there too. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Bora treated everyone's injuries. She had been a combat medic before joining Dongjun's crew. She worked efficiently, wrapping Taewon's ribs, treating his cuts, giving him painkillers. Hana and Daeun were stable. Tired and stressed but healthy. Daeun nursed while Hana sat in the medical bay, still processing that they were safe. How did you get here so fast? Taewon asked Dongjun. You said you were 2 weeks away. I was. But when I got your first message, I started coming. Then I got your second message about the cringe ship. I pushed the engines as hard as I could. Dongjun smiled. Also, I may have ignored a few traffic regulations. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. We still have problems. Dongjun pulled up his datapad. The Kryn ship sent a distress signal before we destroyed it. Their syndicate knows what happened here. They might send more ships. Taewan's stomach sank. More mercenaries? Maybe. Or they might just file a claim with the colonial authorities. Say you destroyed their property. It gets complicated. Dongjun looked at Hana holding her baby. But here's the thing. I spread word about your situation through the freight hauler networks. Told people a friend was protecting Valoran refugees from slavers. You know what happened? What? Everyone wanted to help. I've been getting messages for 2 days straight. Offers of supplies, medicine, defense equipment, money. Dongjun grinned. Humans have a reputation in the outer colonies. We adopt lost causes, and right now you're the galaxy's favorite lost cause. Over the next 3 days, ships started arriving. Independent freighters, small cargo haulers, families looking for new opportunities. They brought supplies, equipment, and most importantly, people. A retired engineer named Wan Shik arrived with a shipload of construction materials. Heard you were building something special here. Thought I'd help. A teacher named Yuna came with her family. My kids need a place to grow up. Some place that believes in helping people. This seems like that place. More ships, more people. By the end of the week, 47 people were living in Dust Ridge Colony. The ghost town was coming alive. They worked together to repair and expand the colony. Wonshik designed new buildings using the materials he brought. Yuna started a school in one of the empty habitation units. Kyung-soo trained volunteers in basic security, just in case the Kryn came back. Hana amazed everyone with her engineering skills. She redesigned the water reclamation system, doubling its efficiency. She helped make the greenhouse produce twice as much food. She showed them Valoran farming techniques that worked perfectly in the harsh environment. Bora set up a proper medical clinic. She examined Daewon regularly, fascinated by Valoran biology. She's developing fast, much faster than human babies. In a few weeks, she'll be at the same level as a 6-month-old human child. Daewon became the colony's heart. Everyone wanted to see the glowing baby. She seemed to respond to the attention, her bioluminescence pulsing brighter when people were around. Children especially loved her. She was proof that the colony meant something, that it stood for something, but trouble was never far away. 10 days after the battle, a message came from the Colonial Exchange Station. Jihai, the administrator who had warned Taewon about the ghost town. Taewon, you need to hear this, she said via video link. The Kryn Syndicate filed a formal complaint. They're claiming you destroyed their ship without cause. They're demanding compensation of 100,000 credits. Taewon laughed bitterly. I don't have 100 credits, let alone 100,000. I know. But here's the interesting part. 37 human colonies filed amicus briefs supporting you. They're arguing that defending refugees from slavers is protected under galactic law. The Kryn are backing down. They dropped the financial claim. That's good news, yes and no. They're still angry. They might not come officially, but they could send more mercenaries. Unofficially, you need to be careful. After the call ended, Taewon gathered the colony council. It had formed naturally over the past week. Dongjun, Hana, Wonshik, Bora, Kyungsoo, and a few others. We need better defenses, Kyungsoo said. Right now we could hold off a small team, but a serious assault would overwhelm us. We also need legal protection, Wonshik added. Right now we're just a loose collection of people. We need official status, colony registration, laws, structure. I can help with the environmental systems, Hana said, but I'm not a politician. I don't know how to navigate galactic bureaucracy. I do, a voice said from the doorway. Everyone turned. A woman in formal business clothes stood there. Middle-aged, confident, carrying a briefcase. She looked completely out of place in the dusty colony. My name is Yoonji. I'm a colonial lawyer. I heard about what you're doing here. I'd like to help. Taewon studied her. Why? Because what you did was right. And because the galaxy needs more places like this. Places that care about people instead of profit. Yoonji set her briefcase on the table. I can get you official colony status. Register your boundaries. Set up a legal framework. Make you legitimate in the eyes of the galactic government. What do you want in return? Taewon asked. A place to live. I'm tired of defending corporations. I want to defend something that matters. The council voted. Yoonji joined the colony. Over the next month, she worked miracles. She filed all the necessary paperwork. She negotiated with various authorities. She argued their case through a dozen different bureaucratic channels. Finally, the approval came through. Dust Ridge Colony was officially recognized. They had legal status, legal protection. They were real. Taewon found Hana in the greenhouse one evening. She was teaching a group of children about Valoran plants. Dayun sat in a carrier on her back, watching everything with bright, curious eyes. "How are you feeling?" Taewon asked when the lesson ended. "Safe," Hana said. "For the first time since my homeworld died, I feel safe." They walked through the colony together. It looked nothing like the abandoned ghost town Taiwan had first seen. Now it bustled with activity. People working, children playing, ships coming and going. "I've been thinking," Hana said, "about what comes next." "What do you mean?"
There are other Velerans out there.
"Scattered across the galaxy, hiding like I was, or enslaved, or living in terrible conditions in refugee camps. They need help. They need a place to go. You want to bring them here? If you'll have us." "I know it's a lot to ask, but this colony could be a sanctuary, a new home for my people, and for anyone else who needs it." Taewon thought about his answer, about the ghost town he'd bought for 100 credits, about the terrified woman hiding in a warehouse, about the baby who glowed with bioluminescent joy. "Send the message," he said. "Tell them they have a home here." Hana's eyes filled with tears. She hugged him. "Thank you for everything." That night, Hana sent out a coded message through the Valoran refugee networks. It spread slowly, carefully through secret channels. A message of hope. Safe harbor found. Dust Ridge Colony. Kale 7. Humans welcome all Valorans. No slavery. No exploitation. Just sanctuary. Come home. 3 weeks later, the first ship arrived. A small transport carrying 12 Valorans. They were thin, scared, traumatized, but alive. Hana greeted them at the landing pad, down in her arms. She spoke to them in the Valoran language, her bioluminescence pulsing in complex patterns. Communication. Emotion. Welcome. The refugees wept. They touched Dayun gently, amazed to see a Valoran child born after the homeworld's death. One of them, an elderly female, spoke to Taewon in broken galactic common. "You saved them. You gave shelter. Why?" Taewon didn't know how to explain it. How do you explain that sometimes you just do what's right because it's right? How do you explain that 100 credits can buy more than property? "Because someone had to," he said finally. "And I was here." The elderly Valoran reached out and touched his face. Her hand glowed softly. In Valoran culture, it was a gesture of deep respect and gratitude. "You are family now." She says 6 months after Taewon bought the ghost town, Dust Ridge Colony looked like a miracle. 300 people called it home, half human, half Valoran. The colony spread across the valley in organized districts with proper roads between them. The human quarter kept the original prefab buildings but added new structures. The Valoran district looked different. Curved walls that reflected their underwater cities back on the lost homeworld. Bioluminescent panels that glowed at night, making the north side of the colony look like it was breathing with soft light. Taewon walked through the streets every morning. He liked seeing what people had built. A bakery run by a human couple from Earth. A Valoran restaurant that served food humans had never imagined. A combined school where Yuna taught both species together. Children playing games that mixed human and Valoran rules. Dayun was 6 months old but developed like a human toddler of 2 years. She talked in both languages. She ran everywhere on unsteady legs. Her bioluminescence had become more complex, showing emotions and thoughts in patterns across her skin. She was the bridge between two worlds. Taewon sat in his office going through reports. He was officially the colony administrator now. A job he never wanted but somehow suited. Yoonji handled the legal work. Hana managed environmental systems. Wonshik led construction. Kyungsoo trained the security force. Bo-ra ran the medical clinic. Dongjun coordinated shipping and trade. They worked well together. A team that formed by accident and stayed together by choice. A knock on the door interrupted his thoughts. "Come in," Taewon called. Hana entered, holding a datapad. She looked excited. "The latest census is complete. We're at 307 residents. We've grown more in 6 months than most colonies grow in 3 years. That's good news. There's more. The Valoran Refugee Council contacted me. They want to make Dust Ridge the official sanctuary colony for displaced Valorans. It means formal recognition, protection under refugee treaties, funding from galactic aid organizations." Taewon leaned back in his chair. That's a big responsibility. I know, but we're already doing it. This just makes it official. Hana sat down across from him. There's something else. The council wants to send a delegation here. 12 representatives from different refugee groups across the galaxy. They want to see what we've built. They want to learn from us. When? 2 weeks. Taewon felt the weight of it. When he bought this place for 100 credits, he just wanted somewhere to land his ship. Now they were hosting official delegations, representing something bigger than themselves. We'll make it work, he said. We always do. The next 2 weeks were chaos. Everyone worked to prepare for the delegation. Buildings were cleaned. Roads were repaired. The school put together presentations. The restaurant prepared special meals. Dayun sensed the excitement and ran around getting in everyone's way. She had learned to climb, which made her both adorable and dangerous. Taewon found her on top of a storage container one afternoon, her bioluminescence flashing with pride. How did you get up there? He asked. Dayun giggled and spoke in Valoran. Hana translated from nearby. She says she's tall now. She can see everything. She's going to give me a heart attack, Hana smiled. She likes you. She calls you Appa. What does that mean? Father. In Korean and in Valoran, the word is similar. She thinks you're her father. Taewon felt something catch in his throat. He looked up at the glowing child on the storage container. She reached down to him, wanting to be picked up. He climbed up and lifted her down. She wrapped her arms around his neck and pressed her face against his chest. Her bioluminescence pulsed in a steady rhythm. Contentment. Love. I guess I am, Taewon said quietly. The delegation arrived on schedule. 12 Valorans representing different groups. Scientists, teachers, engineers, politicians. They came off their ship looking tired and hopeful. The eldest among them was named Sora. She had been a government official on Valora before the collapse. She looked at the colony with careful eyes. This is remarkable, she said. 2 species living together. Building together. How did you achieve this? We needed each other, Hana explained. Humans needed Valoran knowledge. We needed human protection and resources. It wasn't complicated. We just helped each other. Over 3 days, the delegation toured everything. They saw the school where human and Valoran children learned together. They visited the greenhouse where both species crops grew side by side. They attended a council meeting where humans and Valorans voted equally on colony decisions. But what impressed them most was Da-un. The little girl played with human children without hesitation. She spoke both languages fluently. She showed no fear, no prejudice, no sense that being different mattered. To her, humans and Valorans were just people. Sora watched Da-un play in the plaza. Tears ran down her face. Her bioluminescence pulsed with complex emotions. She is our future, Sora said. A child who knows no homeworld, who belongs to 2 species, who represents what we can become. That evening, the delegation gathered with the colony council for a formal dinner. Both species' food filled the tables. Human bread and Valoran kelp dishes, earth vegetables and Valoran sea fruit, wine and bioluminescent drinks. Sora stood to speak. When our homeworld died, we thought our people died with it. We believed that Valorans were finished. We would scatter across the galaxy and slowly disappear. But I see now that we were wrong. A people isn't just a planet. A people is a culture, a language, a way of life. And those things survive wherever we choose to keep them alive. She looked at Taewon. You are human. You have no reason to care about Valorans. But you protected Hana when she was vulnerable. You defended her baby. You built a place where our people can live with dignity. You gave us something precious. You gave us hope. I just did what anyone would do, Taewon said. No, Sora said firmly. Most would not. Most would have turned away. Or worse, taken advantage. But you chose differently. And because of your choice, 300 people have a home. Because of your choice, Valoran children will be born and raised in safety. Because of your choice, our people have a future. The room went quiet. Then everyone stood. Human and Valoran together, honoring the moment. Sora continued. The Valoran Refugee Council has made a decision. We formally recognize Dustridge Colony as the primary sanctuary for our people. We will provide resources, knowledge, support. But more than that, we will send anyone who needs safety to this place, because here they will find family. Over the following weeks, more refugees arrived. The colony expanded again. New buildings went up. The population reached 400, then 500. With growth came challenges. Disputes between residents, resource allocation problems, questions about governance and law. The council met constantly, solving problems as they arose. Taewon found it exhausting. He had never wanted to be a leader. He just wanted to help one person. But one person became 2, then 10, then hundreds. Now he was responsible for an entire community. One night he sat alone on the roof of his habitation unit, looking at the stars. Hana found him there. "Trouble sleeping?" she asked. "Trouble thinking? This has gotten so big. Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning." Hana sat beside him. "Do you regret it?" "No, never. But sometimes I wonder if I'm the right person for this. I'm just a freight hauler who got lucky. You're the person who saw someone in need and helped. That makes you exactly the right person." Hana pointed at the colony below. "Every person down there has a story like mine. They were lost, afraid, alone. And they came here because they heard that someone cared, that someone built a place where being different didn't matter. We built it. All of us. Yes, but you started it. You spent your last 100 credits on a ghost town. You gambled everything on the possibility that things could be better, and you were right." They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Dayun appeared at the roof access, having escaped from her bed again. She climbed into Taewon's lap and curled up, her bioluminescence dimming to a sleepy glow. "She does this every night," Hana said. "Sneaks out to find you." "I know. In Velaran culture, family is chosen. Blood matters less than bond. Dayun has chosen you as her father. If you'll accept." Taewon looked down at the sleeping child. This alien girl who glowed in the dark, who called him Appa, who trusted him completely. "I already have," he said. Hana's bioluminescence pulsed with joy. She took Taewon's hand. "Then we are family, all 3 of us. By choice." "By choice," Taewon agreed. Below them, the colony glowed, human lights and Valoran bioluminescence mixing together. A community built on hope and desperation, and the simple belief that helping each other mattered more than fear. A ship landed in the distance. Another refugee arriving. Another story beginning. Taewon held his daughter and thought about the journey. From 147 credits in a broken ship, to a family and a home. From a ghost town to a thriving colony. "You know what the funny thing is?" he said. "I bought this place because I had no other choice. I was desperate and broke and out of options. I thought I was failing, and now I think maybe that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Being broke, being desperate, having no choice but to take a chance," he smiled. "Best 100 credits I ever spent." Hana laughed quietly, careful not to wake Daun. The universe works in strange ways. To 1 year after Taewon bought the ghost town, Dust Ridge Colony celebrated its first official festival. The colony had grown to 700 people. New districts spread across the valley. Proper infrastructure now connected everything. Water treatment plants, power grids, communication networks, spaceport facilities. It looked like a real city. But more than that, it felt like home. The festival planning had taken months. It was meant to honor both human and Valoran cultures, music from both worlds, food from both traditions, games that everyone could play. The whole colony worked together to make it happen. Taewon walked through the festival preparations, amazed at what people had created. Colorful banners hung between buildings. Cooking stations filled the central plaza. A stage stood ready for performances. Children ran everywhere, too excited to sit still. Dayun was almost a year old. She looked like a human child of 4. Tall for her age, running and jumping and talking constantly. Her bioluminescence had become sophisticated, showing complex thoughts and emotions. She wore a festival dress that Hana had made, human design with Velaran patterns. "Appa, look!" Dayun ran to Taewon holding a flower. "Pretty. Very pretty," Taewon agreed. "Where did you get it?" "Yuna gave me. She said I can give it to someone special." "Who's that?" Dayun thought seriously. Then she handed the flower back to Taewon. You're most special." Taewon felt his eyes water. A year ago he had nothing. Now he had a daughter, a family, a purpose. "Thank you, Dayun. I'll keep it forever." She giggled and ran off to join other children, human and Velaran kids playing together like it was the most natural thing in the world. Which in Dust Ridge it was. Hana found him watching the children. She looked different than a year ago. Healthier, happier, more confident. She wore traditional Valoran clothing modified for the desert climate. Everything ready? Taiwan asked, almost. The Valoran elders want to perform a blessing ceremony, and the human families want to do speeches. We'll need to coordinate the schedule carefully. We'll make it work. We always do. Hana smiled. Remember when it was just us? Hiding in a warehouse, terrified of every sound. I remember you pointing a weapon at me. I remember you bringing me food anyway. She took his hand. A lot has changed. The festival began at sunset. The plaza filled with people. 700 residents plus visitors from nearby colonies. Over 1,000 people gathered together. Wanshik stepped onto the stage first. As the eldest human resident, he had the honor of opening the ceremony. 1 year ago, this place was dead, he said. Empty buildings and dust. Nobody wanted it. Nobody believed in it. Then one man spent his last 100 credits on a ghost town, and everything changed. People laughed and applauded. Taewon felt embarrassed but proud. But this isn't a story about one man, Wanshik continued. It's a story about what happens when we choose to help instead of ignore, when we build bridges instead of walls, when we see people who need sanctuary and say, come home. A Valoran elder named Minseo took the stage next. Her bioluminescence pulsed as she spoke, adding emotional layers to her words that only other Valorans could fully understand. My people lost our homeworld, she said. We thought we lost everything. But we learned something important. Home isn't a place. Home is people, family, community. And here, in this unlikely place, we found all of that. The ceremony continued. Humans and Valorans taking turns speaking, sharing stories, thanking each other, building the narrative of who they were together. Then Hana took the stage. She held Da-un, who waved at the crowd. Her bioluminescence flashed with excitement. I want to tell you about the day I met Taewon, Hana said. I was hiding in a warehouse. I was pregnant, starving, and terrified. I had rigged the colony to scare people away because I thought everyone was a threat. Then this broke freight hauler knocked on my door and asked if I was okay. She looked at Taewon in the crowd. He could have called the authorities.
He could have left.
He could have demanded I leave his property. Instead, he brought me food. He offered me safety. He helped me deliver my baby. Then he fought 4 armed mercenaries to protect us. He gave me something I thought I'd lost forever. He gave me hope. The crowd was silent, listening. But more than that, Hana continued, he gave all of us a chance. Every person here came because they heard about this place. A colony where species didn't matter, where being a refugee wasn't a weakness, where helping each other was the highest value. Taewon didn't build that alone. We all built it together. But he showed us it was possible, she paused. In Valoran culture, we have a ceremony. We call it the choosing. It's when family is made not by blood, but by bond. When people decide to be family because they want to be. Tonight, I want to perform that ceremony. If Taewon will accept, the crowd murmured. This was significant. The choosing was one of the most important Valoran traditions. Taewon made his way to the stage. He didn't know what to say. He had never expected any of this. Hana faced him, holding Da-un between them. Do you choose us as family? As bonds stronger than blood? I do, Taewon said. Do you promise to protect, support, and love us? In difficult times and easy times? I do. Then by the tradition of my people, I name you family. Father to my daughter, partner to me. Kin by choice, Hana's bioluminescence flared bright. She pressed her hand to Taewon's chest. Da-un did the same, her tiny hand glowing. In Valoran culture, it was the transfer of recognition, the formal acceptance of family bonds. The Valoran half of the crowd began to glow, their bioluminescence pulsing in synchronized patterns. It was their way of witnessing, of approving, of celebrating. The human half of the crowd didn't fully understand the ceremony, but they understood what it meant. They applauded and cheered. Taewon held his family and felt complete. The festival continued into the night. Music played. People danced. Food was shared. Human children tried Valoran games. Valoran adults tried human music. Cultures mixed and merged in beautiful chaos. Taewon found himself surrounded by people wanting to thank him, to share their stories, to tell him what the colony meant to them. A young Valoran woman named Jiwoo told him, I was enslaved on a mining station. The Kryn owned me for 8 months. I escaped 3 months ago and heard about this place. I've been free here, really free, For the first time since my homeworld died, a human family from a failed colony explained, "We lost everything when our settlement went bankrupt. We had nowhere to go. Then we heard about Dust Ridge, about humans and Velerans building something together. We came with nothing. Now we have a home and a business, and story after story, person after person. 700 lives changed because one man took a chance on a ghost town." Late in the night, Taiwan stood at the edge of the festival watching. Dongjun joined him with 2 cups of something that might have been wine. "Quite a year," Dongjun said. "Quite a year," Taiwan agreed. "Remember when you called me, desperate and broke, asking if I knew of any work? I remember you laughed at me. I did. Because you were always too proud to ask for help. Then you went and bought a haunted colony for 100 credits. I thought you'd lost your mind. Maybe I did. Best kind of crazy." Dongjun raised his cup. "To ghost towns and the fools who buy them." They drank. The festival music drifted on the night air. Laughter echoed between buildings. Human and Veleran voices mixing together. "What do you think happens next?" Dongjun asked. Taiwan thought about it. "More growth. More challenges. More refugees arriving. The Kryn might try again. Other colonies might follow our model. The galactic government might interfere. Who knows? Sounds complicated. It is. But we'll handle it. One problem at a time, together. You've changed, you know. A year ago you were a loner. Didn't trust anyone. Didn't want connections. Now look at you. Family, community, responsibilities. Is that bad? No, it's good. You needed this." We all did. They stood in comfortable silence. Then Da-Yun appeared, sleepy and glowing softly. She climbed into Taiwan's arms without asking permission. "Festival good?" she asked in mixed Valoran and Korean. "Festival very good," Taiwan answered. "Home good?" "Yes, home is very good." Da-Yun yawned. Her bioluminescence dimmed as sleep approached. "Love Appa." "Love you too, Da-Yun." She fell asleep against his chest. Taiwan held her gently. This miracle child who shouldn't exist. Born in a ghost town to a refugee mother. Protected by a broke freight hauler. Growing up between 2 species. She was the future. Living proof that different didn't mean separate. That family was choice. That home was what you built together. Hana found them eventually. There you are. I should have known she'd find you. She always does. Ready to go home? Taiwan looked at the festival. At the colony he'd accidentally built. At the family he'd accidentally found. At the life he'd accidentally created by spending his last 100 credits on a desperate gamble. "Yeah," he said. "Let's go home." They walked through the festival together. People called out greetings. Children ran past, still playing despite the late hour. Music drifted through the warm night air. Their home was in the original habitation unit. The first building Taiwan had entered when he arrived. They had expanded it over the year. Made it bigger, better. Made it theirs. Inside, Taiwan put Da-Un to bed. She mumbled in her sleep, bioluminescence pulsing with dreams.